Green Bay, Wisconsin. With Lenny Dawson, this is Sam Nover, and the Oakland Raiders about set to kick off, and we're underway. Nice to have you with us. A short kick, Landers on the far side, juggles it around, can't find it, and the Raiders have recovered, I believe, inside the 10, or did they lose it back again? They did. The Packers somehow took it back after Landers had fumbled the opening kickoff from Ray Guy.
Sam, what a way to start off a football game. Number 42, Walter Landers, can't find the handle on the football. What he should do right now is fall on that thing, because here it is, number 80's coming in there. Joe Stewart looks like he took it away from him, but Landers wrestled it back. It really is a big break for the Green Bay Packers early.
Well, it would probably be an understatement to say the Packers are a little jittery today. Let's see how they go operating from the 7. They've got the double tight end situation with McGeorge 81 and Kaufman 82. We'll set the offense in a moment. Whitehurst is the quarterback. That's Barty Smith, his big fullback, busting out over the 10 to about the 11-yard line. Stopped there by Otis Sistrunk, who, as Lenny indicated during our pregame show, has been moved to middle guard.
Otis Sistrunk is the man that they want to get some penetration.
There's your quarterback, David Whitehurst, wearing number 17. Number 34, the starting running back, Turdell Middleton. Been a sensation for the Packers in the early going. The receivers, Lofton and Thompson, the wide receivers, and McGeorge, the tight end.
At the moment, we have Kaufman in there as 2 tight ends are in the ballgame.
Second down. Give to Barty Smith again, picking up a couple of yards. Ran into Dave Browning and Otis Sistrunk. And so the Packers now with a third down situation.
Take a look at that young offensive line for Green Bay. Stokes, left tackle. Left guard is Goforth. McCarron is the center. Jackson, the right guard. And the tackle is Cook, right tackle.
Third and 3.
Matuzak, Sistrunk, and Browning compose the defensive front 3 for the Oakland Raiders.
Third down and 3. Middleton dots the I behind Barty Smith. Whitehurst, the quarterback. Gives it to Middleton. Dancing up to about the 17-yard line. He may be very close to a first down. Phil Villapiano, number 41, is there. Middleton indicates first down, Len. He's confident he got it.
It would be a very big first down early in the ball game.
Those are your linebackers on the outside. Of course, the strong side linebacker is Ted Hendricks. He will go wherever the tight end goes. Phil Villapiano on the weak side, and the inside linebackers, Monty Johnson and Charlie Hall. And the defensive backfield for the Green Bay Packers. Lester Hayes, 37. Monty Jackson, the great surprise to Len Dawson, starting at the other corner with Charlie Phillips and Jeff Tatum. You can hear the crowd reaction. The Packers have it first and 10.
I said that was a big first down for the Green Bay Packers. They made a mistake. They bobbled the ball on the kickoff, and they would have been deep in their territory had they not gotten that first down. Gives them a little bit of a breathing room.
65 degrees here at game time. We've got a slight wind out of the northeast, 12 miles per hour. Mostly cloudy and a bit overcast here in Green Bay. Both wide receivers now in. Undra Thompson, wearing number 43. James Lofton, the rookie sensation, and that's an obvious infraction. Number 57, Darrell Goforth.
He was going
forth, didn't he?
They know what a job they've got in front of them with this Oakland Raider team. No question about it, the left guard, number 57, Darrell Goforth, was anticipating something. One thing, though, he's going all out. When he makes a mistake, he's going to make a mistake all out.
Well, understandably excited is the young second-year guard out of Oklahoma State, Darrell Goforth, 6'3", 260. They got some great names in this ball club. Undra Thompson, how do you like that one? And then that great running back we talked about, Turdell Middleton and Barty Smith. They could be all pro on the name list. That's Middleton. Got back to about the line of scrimmage, may have lost a yard. Well, I beg your pardon. The 5-yard walk-off allowed him to net a couple of yards. Sistrunk, number 60, is the man who made the stop. It was first and 15. He got it almost back to the original line of scrimmage.
Very safe pass for Whitehurst. It was a screen pass. Didn't formulate as well as they wanted to because number 60, Otis Sistrunk, is a pro. He read it right away. That's why he was out involved in the tackle.
Well, there's John Madden. What a fabulous record he has compiled over the years. In fact, the Oakland Raiders have the best record over the last 19 years. Since they came into existence, they have won more games than any other team in the NFL. Whitehurst on 2nd and 11. Middleton Crossing over after coming out from the backfield. Charlie Hall had coverage, but the throw by Whitehurst was obviously high and wide.
Had his man wide open. Middleton was wide open. Had he gotten the ball to him, it would have been a first down. Was a little pressure on because Oakland did come with one of their linebackers.
Well, he hasn't gone to Lofton yet, and it's 3rd down and long, Len.
Here's an added plus for the Green Bay Packers. He is 2nd in rushing in the NFC Conference. If you can establish that rushing game, that makes the passing game go that much better. The Raiders have proven that over many years.
3rd down, 11. Villapiano is out. Neil Cozy, the 5th back. Thompson is wide to the right at the top of your screen. Whitehurst dumps it over the middle, and great coverage by Monty Johnson, the inside linebacker, 58. He was not fooled one iota as they completed the pass to Middleton this time, but may have lost a couple of yards, so the Packers will have to kick it away.
That was the pass that should have taken place the play before, because he was wide open. Coming out of the backfield, you see 83, the Stork, Hendricks coming in, applying some pressure on Whitehurst. He doesn't get to him, but he throws it sooner than he wants, and number 58 is there all over Monty Hall.
We're back live looking at Neil Colsey, single safety.
I'm sorry, Monty Hall's in another game.
Don't worry about it. David Beverly. Juggled, Colsey is hit and maintains his balance. Spins at the 45 in Green Bay territory and goes down, and how he ever stayed on his feet, I'll never know. And so the Oakland Raiders have it for the first time in the ball game here at Green Bay. We have a scoreless contest. There's your offensive backfield for the Raiders. Stabler at quarterback, Robisky. We told you all about him in the NFL 78 pregame, and Mark Van Egan is the fullback. And he'll try to get the ball. Stabler will to Branch and Bradshaw, the wide receivers, and Dave Casper, his tight end. Van Egan inside the 40-yard line to about the 39, stopped there by the middle linebacker, Michael Hunt.
That offensive line of the Oakland Raiders, you can expect them to go right where they just went. Left tackle, Shell. Left guard, Upshaw. They're going to do a lot of business today. Dalby's the center. Marvin is the right guard. He's the new man in that lineup. And Lawrence is the right tackle. Fine offensive line for the Oakland Raiders.
All on the Packer 39.
2nd down, 5, Stabler and company at the Green Bay 39-yard line. Van Egan again, where else but off his own left guard. And he gets very close to the 35-yard line. The stop made by Carl Barzalowskis, the 6'6", 265, 5-year veteran out of Indiana.
Defensive line has done a good job, but they're going to have their hands full today. The left end is Butler, left tackle Roller, the right tackle Barzalowskis, and number 78, Edred Johnson. He's going to get a lot of business today.
Well, go ahead, Len.
Linebackers Weaver, Hunt, and Anderson. We've got 2 rookies in there. Hunt and Anderson are both rookies.
They brought the chains out to measure, and the Raiders on 3rd down will have maybe 6 inches. As you look at the defensive backfield, Buchanan, along with Mike McCoy at the other cornerback, the free safety is Johnny Gray, and the strong safety, Steve Luke. And they have done exactly what everybody expects them to do, and that's to come out and run behind Shell and Upshaw, and they just pound it down your throats. The Oakland Raiders have done it so effectively over the years. They've got 3rd and less than a yard.
They're going to get that right side of the Green Bay digging in. They're going to go up top.
3 tight ends, Casper, Raymond Chester, 88, Derek Ramsey, 84. No, sir. Van Egan, the first down with yards to spare to about the 31-yard line. What made you say that, Len?
Well, because they're going to just start wearing that defensive right side down of the Green Bay Packers. I said Johnson is a fine defensive end. He runs a 4.5 40. So in that case, you don't want to run away from him because that's what he does best. You want to run right at him because he weighs about 235 pounds. And when he's got to take on Art Shell, who weighs a ton, that's a mismatch.
Look at that average for Van Egan, 5 yards a pop. First down, Oakland. 31-yard line. Stay on the ground with Robisky, and he carries it for about 4 or 5 more with Dave Roller making the stop, the defensive left tackle. They'll come right side only to keep you honest, but the Raiders will run it behind Casper, Shell, and Upshaw all day.
This is the Oakland Raider offense. Bang, bang, bang. 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, and all of a sudden Stabler will go to the air and go to the pass because they have outstanding receivers both sides. And, of course, Casper is the premier tight end in the National Football League.
Well, the Packers will find out what they're made out of today. They're 2-0, but they're meeting a football club this afternoon. Robisky on the pitch. Upshaw leading the way, and he dives to about the 23-yard line. Terry Robisky carrying for the 2nd consecutive time. Ezra Johnson, and just as Len pointed out moments ago, Johnson very effective when you run away from him. and he made the tackle in a fine play.
They're going to give him a lot of business because, as I said, he's about 235 pounds, and when you have an all-pro like Art Shell, they did it against everybody. It's no secret that the Oakland Raiders are going to run to their left side because they've got Shell and Upshaw on that side, and when they put Casper over there, they've got 3 outstanding blockers.
3rd down and 2. Would you go for all of it, Len?
Yes.
Stabler with all day. Over the middle. Oh! Out of Michigan, that's his 3rd of the year.
That had 6 points written all over it. Number 81, France, just gave up the football. Or I should say Bradshaw gave up the football. He had it in his hands. Those are the type you have to catch.
I believe I said Branch. It was Bradshaw. What is your cast of officials for today's game? The referee is Fred Wyant, the umpire Tom Hensley, the head linesman Leo Miles, the back judge Jim Rosser, the side judges Don Orr, the field judge Fred Swearingen. And the line judges Gene Carabine. 1st down from the 4. Middleton, little jitterbug to about the 7-yard line. Brought down there by Willie Hall, number 39, the 6-year veteran out of Southern California. I can see where Middleton would scare you to death, Len.
He has got a lot of lateral movement, but the thing that he can do is, after he makes that lateral movement, is take off and go to full speed within a few strides.
We'll start with NFL 78 next Sunday at 12:30. There's our lineup of 1 o'clock games. Baltimore at Buffalo, the Cleveland Browns, the Turnpike rivalry against the Steelers, Miami at Philly, the Jets at Washington. All 1 o'clock games right here on NBC. 2nd down, 7 for Whitehurst. Barty Smith for a couple of yards runs into an old buddy of his, Mike McCoy, number 76. Number 1 draft choice of the Green Bay Packers some 9 years ago out of Notre Dame, and renewing some old acquaintances, I'm sure.
That's the way to renew them as far as McCoy is concerned, but he is a very good man against the run. They know that right now the Green Bay Packers have to try to run it out of trouble down there to put Mike McCoy in the ball game.
Undra Thompson, number 43, comes in at wide receiver. Lofton is the other. The Raiders in the 5 deep backs. The prevent defense, as they call it. Whitehurst on 3rd and long. In his end zone and now out. Throws it downfield. Oh, and he goes right into the hands of number 47, Charlie Phillips, the strong safety. That may have been 6 points. Rich McGeorge was the intended receiver, but Phillips had free sailing, and that's the 2nd drop by the Raiders today.
Taking a look at the defensive backs, they had 5 backs in there, and this ball is going right to Charles Phillips, number 47. And the only thing he would have had to do after catching the ball, you got first things first, you've got to catch the football. There was only one man in his path, and that was Middleton. It would have been 6 points if it had evaded him.
Neil Colsey standing at midfield. David Beverly kicking for the 2nd time in the game. Great hang time. Fair catch by Colsey at the 48-yard line. And David Beverly, they talk about Ray Guy as a premier punter in the game, averaging 45.5, 42.5. Not a bad average for Beverly.
That particular play was great because it was up in the air a long time, no return.
From the 48 at Green Bay, it's Stabler. Screen to Van Egan. At the 40. 36-yard line. Brought down there by Gary Weaver, the left side linebacker and a former Oakland Raider, but not before he got the 1st down.
Outstanding play by the Oakland Raiders. It was a screen pass on that play, and it was number 63, Gene Upshaw, and number 65, Mickey Marvin. They're getting involved in the play, coming out. Van Egan catches the ball, 63, 65. That's the ideal situation. Let those backs do the work and find the hole, pick up the 1st down.
Pete Banaszak, number 40, replaces Van Egan. 2 setbacks. Stabler to throw it again. Almost intercepted there by number 46 of the Packers, Steve Luke. Robisky, the intended receiver.
An outstanding play by number 46, Steve Luke. Almost came up with a big interception. The ball was thrown slightly behind number 35, Robisky. There you go. Stabler had plenty of time, fires it in there, but it's thrown just behind him, as you see. And 46, Luke almost came up with another interception.
Well, they call themselves SWAT, that defensive secondary. They envision themselves as some pretty tough customers. 3rd down. The draw to Robisky, nothing doing. Gary Weaver is the man who made the stop. It was 2nd down and 10. I beg your pardon. Now it'll be 3rd down for Stabler and company. Good look at number 74, Dave Roller, the 5-year veteran out of Kentucky. And the Packers now really having to gut it up. The Raiders have really dominated offensively. They've had the ball Green Bay's side of the midfield stripe for this entire first quarter.
There's an old familiar number, number 25, and that would be Freddie Biletnikoff in the ball game, and this is his specialty, 3rd down situations.
5 defensive backs for the Packers, 3 wide receivers for the Raiders. What do you think's going to happen?
Well, they're going to throw the football.
Stabler on 3rd and 10. A little out to Branch, who lost his balance momentarily. Stabler had some pressure. Pass intended for Branch, but Roller was there, made Stabler perhaps throw it a little early, Len.
He threw it way over his head, and I'm sure it's a timing situation for Kenny Stabler along with Branch, and rather than take a chance on another interception, he threw it over his head, I'm sure, because he didn't want to take a chance on an interception, because those kind, the man runs right down the sideline, and they change the scoreboard.
Well, in 2 possessions, the Packers have started from their own 7 and their own 4. And if Ray Guy can do what he's paid to do, they'll start from inside their 20 again. Johnny Gray back in single safety. Ray Guy aiming for the corner. Oh, and he has gunned to beauty at the 1-yard line. Ray Guy has put it out at the Green Bay 1. How's that for starting drives, Len? They started from their 7 to start the game, from their 4 on the last series. They will go from their 1-yard line when we return to Green Bay. It's scoreless. Well, you've heard the expression, having your backs to the wall. This is ridiculous, isn't it? The Packers start at their 1-yard line, Len, and what can you do when you're that deep?
Well, this is an opportunity, really, for the quarterback to throw the football, because Oakland is going to be digging in down here, trying to put them back in the end zone and getting 2 points. So if you're going to throw the ball, do it now.
Middleton dotting the I. Lofton is split wide to the right. Barty Smith is the up back, spins to maybe the 3-yard line. He's stopped by everybody along the forward line. Sistrunk, the middle guard, number 60. Villapiano was there. Number 73, the rookie Dave Browning. So give him a gain of 2. Let's make it 2nd down and 8 for the Packers.
That's one of the reasons I said you can throw the ball down on 1st down, because you come up now, you're in a situation, you got a long way to go. You don't want to come up with 3rd down and in long yardage and have to throw, because if you get a penalty in the end zone, it's 2 points for Oakland.
4:55 to go in a scoreless first quarter. Smith again, trying to cut back against the grain, dives to about the 5-yard line. Monty Johnson, 58, the inside linebacker, and that 4 linebacker setup of the Raiders was there. With Len Dawson, this is Sam Nover at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. We are scoreless, 4.5 minutes to go in the quarter. The Raiders have had possession in Packer territory throughout this quarter, and as I mentioned earlier, the Packers have had to start series from their 7, 4, and 1.
Well, if they don't make a 1st down right now, they're going to be in deep trouble. Bart Starr over there knows the situation. He's been in it many times before.
3rd down and 5. They split their backs. Smith 33, Middleton 34. Both receivers slotted right. Middleton, the 7 or 8 yard line. Willie Hall is the man who got his arm on him first and knocked him down. And so Bart Starr playing it ultra conservatively deep in his own territory. Here's a shocker. The Steelers out early on Cincinnati at the half, 21-3.
Cincinnati's really having their problems.
And Seattle and the Jets at Shea tied, Len.
Jets 2-0, so they're looking for 3rd in a row.
Giants beating your Kansas City Chiefs.
They placed that in a big hurry.
Hope it's a misprint, don't you? Kicking from his end zone is David Beverly. Good spiral. Not very long, but good hang time. Posey a fair catch right on the 45-yard line of Green Bay.
38-yard punt by Beverly.
Well, new this fall on NBC, it's Dick Clark's Live Wednesday. And, of course, the premiere showing will be Wednesday night, September 20th at 8 o'clock, right here on NBC. Stabler with Van Egan and Robisky in the backfield. 1st down at the Green Bay 45. Robisky for maybe a yard. Dave Roller rolled him down.
What they did is overshift that defensive line. They are overshifting a man to the weak side or to Shell and Upshaw's side. And Kenny Stabler at that time checked off at the line of scrimmage.
Len, what kind of effect will this have on Green Bay's defense later in the game, 4th quarter-ish?
Well, it's going to have effect on wearing them down, because Oakland is a type of team, they're a very physical football team, and eventually in the 4th quarter, they're going to try to wear you down.
Cliff Branch goes wide left. Morris Bradshaw to the right. 2nd down, 9. Stabler out to Robisky, and he can't hold on. Well, we were told that Terry Robisky has much better hands than Clarence Davis. The man he replaces today didn't look like it, did he, Len?
This time, Kenny Stabler, number 12, right on the money, fires the ball to 35, the halfback in the flat. He had just a step on number 60, Anderson. Little high, but those are the type of catches that you must come up with. Almost that time, if he'd have flicked the ball a little bit higher, it could have been that Anderson might have come up with his 2nd interception of the afternoon.
Yeah, we talked about Robisky in our pregame NFL 78. 5 defensive backs for the Packers, 3rd down and 9. Stabler has Branch slotted left.
Wait a minute here.
Hello. Roller's pointing at Art Shell. He was right, Len.
Yes, sir. Somebody had to move. Once you get in a 3-point stance as an offensive lineman, you cannot move.
He saw the illegal procedure call from referee Fred Wyant against number 78, Art Shell.
Taking a look at the situation, Kenny Stabler's calling out the signals. You can't see Art Shell. Dalby's looking around. He said, what's going on here?
We're live again. 3rd and 14 for Stabler. Little pressure this time, and they got to him. Incompleted pass as Stabler had started to come down with the left arm. And listen to this crowd at Lambeau Field in Green Bay.
Number 78, Ezra Johnson, was the man that grabbed a hold of Kenny Stabler's hand. There was no question that he was going through with a forward pass at the time. Going back in the pocket, he looked like he had enough time, but he couldn't find a receiver. He's looking all over. 78, the man with 4.5 speed, Ezra Johnson, right there, grabs his arm as he's going forward. Forward pass, incomplete.
Ray Guy about as deep in Oakland territory as the Raiders have been all day at his own 36-yard line. Single safety is Johnny Gray. Line drive kick. Gray lets it go over his head, and it gets into the end zone. And the Packers would have had to start from inside their 5 again, Len.
Oh, if that on natural grass like you have out there, sometimes that ball is going to stop or it can kick out of bounds, but they got a lucky break.
Back at Lambeau Field in Green Bay with Len Dawson, this is Sam Nover. The Packers have it in the best field position of the day for them, the 20-yard line, Len.
Maybe they can hope they can stand prosperity. They finally got some breathing room, and the end zone isn't right at their back.
Undra Thompson split wide left, Lofton to the right. The great number 1 draft choice out of Stanford, who caught 3 TD passes last Sunday against New Orleans. The pitch to Middleton. Got blocking. Flag is down as he goes to the 27-yard line. But there's a penalty marker down in the Green Bay backfield. Phil Villapiano made the stop.
Generally, when that flag comes flying like that, that indicates some sort of holding, and they couldn't stand prosperity. Finally get the ball out in position where they can either run or pass and utilize their game plan and their offense. They're going to take a march backwards.
You explain something to me, Len, will you please? First possession for the Oakland Raiders. They went off Shell and Upshaw, and they pounded it down the field against the Packers, and they have not gone back to that offensive maneuvering since.
One reason is because the Green Bay Packers defensively, they are over-shifting to Upshaw and Shell's side. They've got an additional defensive lineman over there. So Kenny Stabler has been calling audibles at the line of scrimmage going back to the other side. But you're going to see them eventually. They're going to figure it out, and they're going to get in formations where they'll go back to that left side.
Holding against Tim Stokes, who was acquired from the Washington Redskins by the Packers, so it nullifies the run by Middleton. It's 1st down and 20, Packers at their own 10. Play action from Whitehurst. And the screen to Barty Smith. 15 to about the 18-yard line. He got back 8 of the 10 yards. Villapiano was there to make the stop along with Monty Johnson. What an active crew of linebackers the Oakland Raiders have.
Willie Hall was in the middle of that line. He was rushing the passer, and he eventually ended up helping out on the tackle. Shows you the versatility today of the big guys that are playing linebackers.
So it'll be 2nd down and 12 now for David Whitehurst and company. Stokes and Cook are the tackles. Goforth and Jackson the guards. Larry McCarron is the center. They split Lofton wide to the right, or to the left rather. Undra Thompson to the right and Whitehurst to throw it. He's got Lofton off his fingertips as he went high in the air. Defending was Monty Jackson.
Monty Jackson had very good coverage, but that ball was there. That ball should have been caught by Lofton. Anytime that it goes through a receiver's hands, he should catch it. Getting pressure, Villapiano, number 41, is coming after the quarterback. Whitehurst throws the ball. Good pass, right in his hands. Those are the type that you've got to concentrate on. Those are the type that you've got to catch.
We've had a lot of drops in the early going. James Lofton, would you say he's had an auspicious start? Indeed, he has. 3 touchdown receptions in 2 games, Len.
A lot of times because a player is a young man, a rookie like Lofton, that he loses his concentration. When you get older and around a while, you'll learn to concentrate on the important thing, and that's catching the football.
3rd down and 12 for Whitehurst. Tipped away by Jackson. Interference to be called against the Raiders. He went high over Turdell Middleton to tip it away, but in doing so also had contact with the intended receiver.
Well, that was a play that really wasn't necessary, because even if it had been completed, he wouldn't have had a first down. The back is coming out of the backfield and just turning up, and quarterback firing the ball. But right there, contact is being made by number 42, Monty Jackson.
First break of the football game for the Green Bay Packers. They have it first down at their own 24-yard line. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Green Bay Packers and the National Football League is prohibited.
Biggest play of the afternoon so far for the Green Bay Packers was that penalty.
1:34 to go, first quarter. We are still scoreless. Middleton. Somebody went headhunting there, the Stork Hendricks.
Number 83, his span is about 12 feet, I think. It's pretty tough to get around the Stork. And he is a cagey linebacker. Number 83, Ted Hendricks, out of Miami a couple of years ago, but he's an outstanding linebacker, and he seems to get better with years.
I think I said Middleton. It was Barty Smith, the ball carrier. So let's say a gain of 2, 2nd down and 8 Packers. Split Undra Thompson wide to the right and Lofton to the left. You can see Thompson there. Top of your screen. Big hole for Middleton. First down and more as he gets it to the 36-yard line. Monty Jackson had to make the stop, the 4-year veteran out of San Diego State, and Jack Tatum, the free safety.
Now we can see why he's gained a couple of 100 yards, and he's number 2 in the NFC in rushing. I'm talking about number 34, Middleton. He threw some moves at the defensive unit of the Oakland Raiders. A lot of that was on his own. He had good blocking to get through the hole, but once he got through the hole, he did most of the rest on his own.
He was a 3rd-year draft choice of the Packers last year out of Memphis State. Not particularly big, at 6 feet 195. He can scamper, can't he? Fumble! Whitehurst diving out after it and may have gained a yard or 2 on the recovery. Not a bad play if you were 3rd and short.
Maybe they've been practicing some sort of a fumble play, but the problem is they didn't gain much more than a yard. It doesn't really bother him that much because he knows that he has a great deal of confidence in his ability, and eventually things are going to start meshing together.
Whitehurst is 3 out of 6 in the passing department, but for only 13 yards. In motion, coming toward us is Middleton. Whitehurst rolling right. Throws it out here to Barty Smith to about the 43-yard line. Hendricks had the coverage and rolled him out of bounds. That'll be a little shy of a first down. Some baseball scores of teams still in contention in division races. The Mets lead the Phillies 2-0. That's a 2nd inning score. Montreal and Pittsburgh scoreless. They're just underway. The Red Sox and Yankees are scoreless. We'll keep you abreast on everything that's going on, baseball and football, around their respective leagues today. Big play for the Packers, 3rd down possession play, 3rd and 3. Middleton spinning away from Hendricks, diving shy of the 45. Matuzak was there. Big John at 6'7", 275 out of Tampa. He really found a home in Oakland, didn't he?
John's been doing a great job. Last year, I can recall in a couple of ball games, Baltimore in particular, in a playoff game, he came up with some outstanding plays that saved the day for them.
Beverly will do the punting.
David Beverly's 4th kick of the afternoon. Neil Colsey in single safety at his own 15-yard line. Just underway, 2nd quarter, scoreless game. The Raiders favorites by somewhere in the neighborhood of 11 points. A high, short kick. And it took an Oakland bounce, started to come back toward the Packer goal line and was killed on the 32-yard line. Now back to our game. It's scoreless with the Raiders having it 1st and 10 as they put Robisky in motion. Van Egan dragging a tackler with him. Number 60, John Anderson.
Anderson, stop.
There they go back to that left side. They're going to go back to their bread and butter. Right over Upshaw and Art Shell. That time they also put Casper out there at the tight end position.
Halftime score, the Steelers leading big over the Bengals. The Seahawks and Jets are tied at 14. Gain of 7 by Van Egan. He was a leading rusher in the American Conference last year, over 1,200 yards. And Lenny, you're right. 1st down, Van Egan again. They're coming right back to Upshaw and Shell.
They're saying this right now: let's establish this game. Let's get control of this game. And the way that they do it, the Oakland Raiders are a big, strong, straight-ahead type of football team. And they're big and powerful, and they do their best blocking straight ahead. Shell, Upshaw, 63. Upshaw is a great guard, but pulling isn't his strong point. Straight-ahead blocking is. And, of course, being co-captains, making those big decisions out there.
Well, they bring the chains in from the other side. It looks like a 1st down, but my vision isn't 20/20.
Yes, it is.
1st down.
1 for 1. I think I'll quit. Think I'll quit. So the Raiders have a 1st down, 12:44 to go. 2nd quarter. It is scoreless if you have just joined us. The undefeated Green Bay Packers, the once beaten Oakland Raiders. And the Packers, as we indicated earlier in our pregame talk, really will find out what they're made of today. Biletnikoff, 25, is in. 3 receivers. Bradshaw, 81, and Branch, 21, but they run it. And it's Van Egan getting very close to midfield. Stopped there by Mike Douglas, 65, and Johnny Gray, the free safety, 24. But Van Egan is having a picnic here in this series.
Left side of the Oakland Raider line. Their theory is this: straight ahead blocking. You can see it right there. Give the ball to the back. Let him pick his hole, whether it be inside or outside. The offensive linemen, they're taught, take that defensive man whichever way he wants to go. We'll take that 4 and 5 yards every time.
2nd down, 5, the Raiders. They send Branch in motion. Stabler, some pressure on him, throws it out in the flat, caught by Biletnikoff, and out of bounds at about the 46. That'll be a Raider 1st down. And how many times have you seen Stabler and Biletnikoff hook up on the exact play?
What Oakland has right now, they have 3 wide receivers in the ball game. They've got 21 Branch, 81 Bradshaw, and 25 is, of course, the veteran Freddie Biletnikoff. And he has done this a jillion times, I'm sure. Because I know when we played against Kansas City, he did that all the time. And he and Stabler do a tremendous job of timing up with one another.
Willie Buchanan is the man who ran him out. Bradshaw coming in motion, breaks upfield before the snap. Look at Bradshaw down at the 30-yard line. Woo!
One thing, though, he was wide open.
Well, Gray had the best coverage possible. An illegal play.
He just did not know what the count was. He thought perhaps it was on a quick count. And here comes Robisky saying, move over to the other side. We're going to go with 2 running backs. We'll take over from here. That is concentration. You must concentrate at all times.
Freddie Biletnikoff goes out. Bradshaw is in. You look at John Madden and his great receiver, Biletnikoff, chat on the sideline. So it's 1st down and 15 after they walk off the 5. Slot formation right, but they come with Robisky. 50, 45. Great effort by Terry Robisky. Great individual effort. He got outside and then just hopped and skipped for another 5. John Anderson made the tackle secure.
And it was a good tackle. It was a diving tackle. Got a hold of just 1 foot. Had he not made the tackle, it probably would have been close to a 1st down by Robisky.
Bradshaw goes out. Biletnikoff back in. Boy, the Raiders make a ton of changes offensively, don't they?
Well, they have a lot of people that can hurt you in a lot of ways.
Here's Robisky, snaps on the afternoon. Stabler. He's got all day. Intercepted. Willie Buchanan. to about the 48-yard line, and Stabler threw it right in his tummy.
Willie Buchanan played that play all the way. They were doubling up Branch on the other side. It was man-to-man coverage by number 28. Willie Buchanan running an in pattern or curl pattern. He played the play. He is there. He ran the route before Blitnikoff because he guessed. Had he not run that route, Blitnikoff, if he'd have taken off, he'd have been wide open.
10:59 to go in the first half. We got a doozy, don't we? A scoreless game. The Green Bay Packers enjoying every moment of it.
He stops throwing. You know that his confidence is gone, but Kenny's not going to stop throwing.
Packers have it first down at their own 47-yard line. Best field position of the day for Whitehurst. Oh, Villapiano, what a fabulous interception. Phil Villapiano juggled it and made the interception at his own 41-yard line. And the Raiders do what great teams do. They get it right back after coughing it up.
Now, here's an inexperienced quarterback throwing to a man. He was going to go to him. He's following him all the way along, and Villapiano is watching. He comes up with a fabulous interception right there. And even if he hadn't have made the catch, you can see that number 58 was Monty Johnson was all over the receiver anyway. It never had a chance of being completed. That's a case the quarterback should have thrown the thing out of the park.
Well, that was the first interception against Whitehurst this year. He had some pressure, incidentally, from John Banaszak. Or from John Matuzak. Over the middle. No! Michael Hunt, the middle linebacker. Do you believe?
This looks like volleyball out there. That ball's popping all over the place. Kenny Stabler trying to force the ball in there, off the hands of Probisky this time.
That's the rookie linebacker, Michael Hunt, out of Minnesota, beat out a 9-year veteran, Jim Carter. Third interception against Stabler in the half.
It looks like he's throwing it underhand right there, but Robisky had a shot at it right here. He got a hand on it. He pops it up in the air. That's great concentration by a young rookie linebacker, 55, Mike Hunt, coming up with the second interception that was deflected for the Green Bay Packers. That's their third already.
So on the exchange, the Packers net something like 15 yards on the exchange of interceptions. Look at Middleton. Inside the 35. Wrestled down by Willie Hall, the inside linebacker. 8 interceptions against Kenny Stabler in 2.5 ball games.
Here they are, I think, for the first time they're looking at. They can at least see the end zone of the Oakland Raiders. They've been backed up so far in the first quarter. That was the big play that took them out of a jam and got them in a really great field position right now. And I expect Bart Starr and his Packers to try to keep it on the ground.
Pittsburgh is blowing the Bengals out in Cincinnati. It's 28-3 now, Pittsburgh. Second down, 5. Whitehurst.
Whoa!
Nobody's there. Villapiano recovers at the 49-yard line.
I don't believe this. I don't believe this. He had the option play, and he ran the option very well, but there was one problem. There wasn't any back. The backs went the other way. Faked it, and he's going down the line of scrimmage, reading the linebacker. Now's the time to get rid of it because he's coming up. He does that, but the only one back there is the man in the striped suit, and he's not going to help you out.
So we have had 4 changes of possession in the last 6 plays, would you believe? So we have had 5 turnovers in this football game. Stabler has been intercepted 3 times. Whitehurst has thrown for 1 interception and pitched to a fumble. He didn't plan on it working out that way, but nobody was there. So the Raiders have it back at their 49-yard line. Van Egan jumps the potential tackler and hurdles his way to the 46-yard line. Stopped there by Gary Weaver, the left side linebacker. So they start out running away from their strength line.
The reason they did it that time is because of what I said before. The Green Bay Packers on first down, they're putting an additional defensive lineman to the weak side or to the side of Shell and Upshaw. So what Stabler is doing, he's looking over there. He's outmanned that side. They got too many people to block, so let's go the other way.
Joe Theismann to Gene Fugit for a touchdown. The Redskins 14-3 over St. Louis. Look at that hole for Van Egan. Still on his feet to the 30-yard line. Steve Luke had to make the tackle, the strong safety, but Van Egan is really gaining some yardage in this quarter.
They had 9 sacks in 2 ball games, but the one thing that they've got to learn to do is take on these big, strong guys. 55, you see Hunt there. When you get your running back like Egan, as big and as strong and powerful as he isn't getting touched till he gets 7 yards in that defensive backfield, you're in trouble.
8:50 to go on a moving clock in the second quarter. There is no score. The Raiders. Robisky coming wide. They strung it out beautifully, did the Packers, and they make the stop at about the 28. John Anderson, the rookie from Michigan, is mostly responsible. Barzalowskis was moving out in pursuit of Robisky. Give him a gain of 1, make it 2nd down and 9.
Flag on the field.
Yeah, they're looking against the Packers, so they'll walk it off in that direction, and that will nullify a pretty good defensive play. Here's some baseball scores. The Mets have gone 2-0 on the Phillies in the 4th. The Pirates lead Montreal 4-0 in the 4th. Of course, NBC Sports will have the game of the week for you next Saturday. The Yankees at Cleveland, Pittsburgh at Montreal, 1 o'clock, and of course we will have the World Series on NBC.
52. First down.
I didn't hear, Len, did you?
Number 52, Gary Weaver, was the man that was caught.
First down for the Raiders now. They spot the ball. Let's call it the 14-yard line. Stabler's been down there 3 times today. Van Egan powering his way to about the 11. Weaver, 52, makes the stop, along with Ezra Johnson, number 78. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Didn't look like much. They stopped the play, really, but they ended up, because they went straight ahead, they ended up with a 3-yard gain.
Efren Herrera, 45-yard field goal. Seattle leads the Jets 17-14. Bob Thomas, a 28-yard field goal. The Bears lead Detroit 10-0. Their touchdown coming on a 1-yard run by Walter Payton.
What's new?
NFL 78 at halftime with Bryant Gumbel and Mike Adamle, bring you up to date on all the baseball and football scores around the country.
John Madden on the sideline now. He says, let's establish something. Let's get in there and score. We need some points on the board because this is a very important game for the Oakland Raiders. They're 1-1, and they meet New England next week.
They split Cliff Branch wide to the right, and they slot Bradshaw. Stabler over the middle. Touchdown.
Yes, Sue.
Well, that's what Stabler and Casper have done so often, and the first score of the day comes exactly that way.
Great protection for Kenny Stabler. And when you give Kenny Stabler, number 12, enough time to throw, and he has enough time to run or take a look for number 87, Casper, he's going to find him. Although this pass wasn't really thrown that well, but see the protection he's got? Great job. Stays right in the pocket, and 87 is the man he goes to down on the goal line because he scores. This man is fantastic.
Errol Mann will attempt out of a David Hum hold. Kick is up, and it is good. So the Oakland Raiders have scored first, but it took them to 7:56 here in the second quarter to do it. And they scored on a pass from Stabler to Casper. It's 7-0. We'll be back in Green Bay in just a moment. Well, it didn't take Stabler very long, did it? 4 plays, 51 yards, the scoring drive, 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Ray Guy's set to kick it deep. Steve Odom, number 84. Running up on the ball, short kick at his own 13. To about the 26. Stopped by Joe Stewart, number 80. The rookie out of Missouri who's got blazing 9.4 speed. And so the Packers will put it in play at their own. Well, they spotted the 27-yard line. We gave you that one moments ago. The Steelers still undefeated apparently in the Central Division of the AFC, winning easily at Cincinnati today. Look at this one, Lenny.
Yes.
Chiefs are in trouble.
What happened to the old wing T formation? They're going to have to scrap that.
Houston 10-0 over San Francisco. I think everybody feels that the Oilers are going to be vastly improved. Tampa Bay playing the Vikings tough in the second quarter at 7-3. Whitehurst to Middleton for maybe a yard. McCoy was there, 76. So was Villapiano.
Villapiano made a good play on that. Barty Smith was trying to make the block on him, but he didn't get the job done.
Casper reminds me of something I've been meaning to ask you about the emergence of the tight end in pro ball. Boy, they are scoring more touchdowns.
It used to be the tight end was a glorified offensive tackle because he was involved in blocking, but now with all the zone coverages, the tight end is very instrumental in the passing game.
Let's talk more about that later. Whitehurst, out in the flat. Look at that coverage by the Raiders. Barty Smith, but Villapiano and Hall have him covered like the proverbial blanket. And Villapiano adding a little bit of insult to injury, talking it over. It is almost as if Villapiano was in the offensive huddle of the Packers, I think.
Well, a first down is very important because what has happened, if Green Bay doesn't make any yardage on first down, that means that Oakland is going to sit back and say, all right, they're going to throw the football. We're going to play pass coverage. So first down is really important for the Packers. They've got to get something going.
Pat Toomey in on third down and long, along with the Charles Filyaw, number 77. This is the pass rushing set the Raiders love to employ. Get some pressure on Whitehurst. He's got Lofton. He overthrew him. He got a hand on it. Lofton, incidentally, is a national collegiate long jump champion. This kid can jump a mile. And he went up and got a hand on it, but couldn't come down with it. Tatum had the coverage.
Had he come down with it, Tatum was sitting right there on his back, and he would have greeted him the way Jack Tatum generally greets receivers when they come in his area.
And now you can feel a slight taking over of the play by the Oakland Raiders.
You can't give the Raiders too many opportunities because eventually they're going to take advantage of it.
David Beverly. Good high punt. Colsey at about his 42. 45 midfield, tripped up and brought down, but not a bad return by Neil Colsey, the former Ohio State All-American. The Raiders will be in business in Green Bay territory. McCarron is the man who made the stop.
33-yard punt.
Great schedule of football games for you. Next Sunday on NBC, we start with NFL 78 at 12:30. At 1 o'clock, Baltimore, Buffalo, the Browns and Steelers, Miami at Philly, and the Jets at Washington. 2 o'clock, Denver at Kansas City. All of them exclusively on NBC.
Cleveland, Pittsburgh could be two undefeated teams going into that contest.
Big hole for Van Egan.
Raiders are starting to take over control now. They've got great field position now inside the 50-yard line or inside the territory of the Green Bay Packers. And this is Stabler. This is what he does so well. He gets you backed up where he can run or throw, and he'll pick you apart.
Tommy Hart has tackled Detroit quarterback Greg Landry in the end zone. 2-point safety. The Bears lead the Lions 12-0 third quarter. Van Egan having a great day, isn't he? Here's Robisky. 40. Diving to about the 36-yard line.
Yes.
At the bottom of the pile is Barzalowskis, number 75, and Mike McCoy coming up from the right cornerback. McCoy really got burnt by the Raiders in 76. 3 touchdown passes from Stabler and right at him, Len.
Yes, he kept talking about that he was a rookie then, and he's overcome that. But when you start talking about what happened to you in the past that was a negative thing, that means it's on your mind.
Excellent point. He won't forget it.
Best thing to do is go right at him right away to remind him.
First down and the give to Van Egan, coming off Shell and Upshaw again, and the Raiders now starting to exert themselves and to really take over control of the football game. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
Butler Anderson.
This is KMTV in Omaha.
4 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first half. The Raiders lead the Packers 7-0. Sam Nover and Len Dawson, nice to have you with us here in Green Bay. Packers giving them a game. Against the flow, look at that by Van Egan to the 15-yard line as he cut back against the flow and had nothing but daylight.
Yes, sir. What they've been doing is going to the left side, going to the left side, going to the left side, picking up yardage. And now they turn around, and you'll see here he's going to cut way back to the, he started to the left, but way back to the right, and you see Casper out in front, trying to get a block, trying to give him some room to get in and get 6. Wisely, he didn't throw a block because he would have had to clip somebody, but a big play by Van Egan.
Wow. 80 yards already rushing for Van Egan here in the first half. Robisky in motion. First down, Banaszak, the ball carrier, to about the 11-yard line, picked up 4 on the carry. Dave Roller made the stop, and I'm wondering, Len, we talked about the trying times of the Packers late in the game after having to stop Oakland in the first quarter. Maybe it's taking an early toll.
Well, you don't want to give them a touchdown right here. Green Bay's got to stop them from scoring a touchdown because here you are just about 3 minutes before the end of the first half, and 14 points is a lot tougher to overcome than 10.
Morris Bradshaw, number 81. You see him at the top of your screen, slotted as Cliff Branch. Second down,
Stabler.
6. Robisky.
He's in.
Touchdown. Robisky carrying a tackler, number 24 of the Green Bay Packers, Johnny Gray, into the end zone. And just what Len Dawson said could not happen from a Green Bay point of view has happened.
Well, they're taking it right to the left side, and here's Robisky's coming in. People did have a shot at him. You see number 55, Hunt, right there. You have to make those tackles. 24 is Johnny Gray coming over top, and he didn't make the tackle. You must make those type of tackles when you're down by your own goal line. You cannot give them 6 points.
So David Humm will hold for Errol Mann as he attempts to make it 14-0 Oakland. Kick is up, and it is good. And so the Oakland Raiders have taken a 14-0 lead over the undefeated Green Bay Packers. And as you look at the more jubilant side of the field, John, 1 o'clock here on NBC as we lead it up to the World Series coverage of NBC. Ray Guy. Steve Odom at his 16. He's in trouble. At the 20, he's down and out.
To about the 20.
Joe Stewart, number 80, is there.
Joe Stewart has been there all afternoon. Now, Odom was going sideways. You don't pick up yardage going sideways. It's really tough to get outside that wall early. 6 plays, 48 yards, 2 minutes, 11 seconds.
Well, the first touchdown took 2:01, that drive. This one took 2:11. So in 4 minutes and 13 seconds, Mr. Stabler has shown how the Raiders can strike like lightning, didn't he? From their 20-yard line with 2:54 to go in the half, Whitehurst will have to get something going. Middleton. Maybe 2 yards before Matuzak and Monty Johnson drove him back. David Whitehurst is learning a great deal about himself and his ball club today. What is he going through mentally, Len?
Well, I'll tell you this. Things were going so well for him. Last week, 4 touchdown passes. He had never thrown more than 2, even when he was in high school or college. So that was a first for him. Leading the National Football League in passing. I don't think that he really convinced himself that he was that good yet. But this is going to be a great test for him because you need this type of experience in the National Football League.
Good protection. Throws it out to Middleton, and he He overthrew him by a hair. If that pass had been perhaps a yard shorter, Middleton would have got both feet in. But it was still a great catch.
Yes, but the idea is timing is important. The ball, if it had been released a little sooner, the ball would have been there quicker. So he had time. If he'd have thrown that ball a little sooner, it wouldn't have been that close to the sideline. Does make a concentration right here. That's really a great catch because he was really kissed as he makes the catch.
He got 1 foot down and the second one very close as he tried to stutter step it along the sideline.
John Madden was calling the play over there. He's helping out the officials.
He was the 8th official. 3rd down and 8 for Whitehurst. Toomey in to provide a little pressure for Oakland on this 3rd down situation. Whitehurst.
He's got room. He needs
plenty of field to the 40-yard line and smartly down. Keeping the drive alive. Whitehurst running for the first down. Filipiano was there to make sure that he went down.
Well, that's a good play. Live to play another down. Slide when you've got that first down. That was a good play by Whitehurst.
I don't know if you noticed it, Len, but for a moment, Whitehurst went back to the wrong side of the line of scrimmage. He went to the Oakland side and stood there until the official pointed him back to the other side. Well, we've reached the 2-minute warning. Whitehurst needs to get the cobwebs out of his head a little bit. And I guess maybe we do too. It's 14-0 Oakland over Green Bay here at Lambeau Field. Take a look at some of the beauty of the game.
All those plays, he's saying, just give me one little work.
Well, let's see what happens from their own 40-yard line. The Packers have it 1st down and 10.
Blair, all right.
Over the middle, he's got Barty Smith, and he overthrew him. Not a bad call. Barty Smith coming out of the backfield. He doesn't throw to him that often. Instead, Hendricks had some pressure on Whitehurst. May have forced him to release it a little bit early. An incompleted pass, 2nd down, 10 yards. Stops the clock with 1:56 to go in the half. The Raiders 14, the Packers nothing. Good protection. Whitehurst dumps it over the middle, intended for Middleton. It may have been tipped. It was so badly thrown behind Middleton, I've got to believe it was tipped, Len.
It was tipped at the line of scrimmage by one of those big defensive linemen of the Oakland Raiders.
3rd down and 10. Whitehurst a must play here. Tipped again and almost intercepted by Monty Johnson, but there's a flag down. And that is in the secondary of Oakland, and Neil Colsey is not happy, Len.
No, he doesn't look like he's happy, but that last time that the Stork 83 was putting pressure on Whitehurst, let's listen to the call. Holding, something that really wasn't necessary for the Oakland Raiders because the pressure was on the quarterback and he wouldn't have had a prayer of completing the pass.
Well, it may have been the double chuck.
Number 83 is who they call the Stork. And he does one thing, he puts pressure on quarterbacks, and he's very tall. You can see, he sees him right there. Johnson coming up and almost comes up with a fantastic interception. Now what is happening now is Whitehurst is hurrying things. He doesn't have himself completely under control at the present time.
Violation of the double chuck against Oakland. Automatic first down, Green Bay. 1:46 to go, second quarter. Whitehurst is alive again. Up the middle. Tatum gave him a hit high, but Turdell Middleton carries the ball down to the Oakland 32-yard line. That'll be another Green Bay first down.
What he did not do, he did not get out of bounds. The clock is still running. Now they've got to waste a lot of time out there calling an audible on the line of scrimmage to get the play off. Had he jumped out of bounds, they would have saved about 15 seconds.
Minute 24 to go. Here's the out-of-bounds pass. Lofton is out at the 25, and that'll stop the clock with 1:15 to go. Then they've got plenty of time, and the worst mistake Whitehurst could make now is to get a little bit too antsy. Second down and 2 for the Pack. They're at the Oakland 24-yard line. Whitehurst overthrew Turdell Middleton and may have seen what was coming. Some excellent coverage out there from... was that Monty Johnson? It was indeed, number 58.
What they had, they wanted to set up a screen, but Villapiano came flying in there, and Monty Johnson was covering his man. He just went right with him when he went out in the flat. He was there to make the play.
Well, now Whitehurst has to think about making the first down. He's got third down and 2 at the 24 of Oakland.
You know, they don't use their tight end like the Oakland Raiders do. McGeorge is a man that a lot of times with them blitzing all the time, that tight end can be open real quickly.
He hasn't gone to Thompson yet today. Middleton, first down, inside the 20, wrestled down by Charles Phillips at the 15. But the Packers, with 1:04 to go in the half, fighting to get back in this ball game. They trail 14-0.
They had to come up with a first down right now, and you're talking about number 34 Middleton. You can see the moves that he's made, he's capable of, right here. Jumping outside, picking up the first down. And the Green Bay Packers that time wisely called timeout because they've got 1 minute and 4 seconds remaining, and they've got to get in and score before half. This would be a good time. This would be a good time for a draw play or even a screen.
Long count by Whitehurst. Back to pass. Now scrambling out of the pocket. He's got room. Inside the 15. Bumps heads with Villapiano and goes down, but he bounces right up. He and Villapiano collided head-on at about the 12-yard line, and Whitehurst wisely gets the timeout. Yeah, maybe he'll go to McGeorge.
He'll have single coverage.
He's looking for him, and it was knocked down. That pass was intended for Rich McGeorge. Ted Hendricks had batted him inside the 5-yard zone. McGeorge had just moved out, but somebody got a hand up there and batted the ball back at Whitehurst. And it was Big John Matuzak.
It's rather tough to throw on that side with Big John over there. He's about 6'8" or 6'9". He stands up in the air and puts those arms up there. It looks like it's about 12 feet tall. He's looking all the way, which is a quarterback, when he gets more experience, you see right there the deflection. A quarterback with more experience like Stabler doesn't follow the primary receiver all the way.
Well, you got to say this is the biggest play of the half for Green Bay and Whitehurst. Third down, 6 at the Oakland 11. Sampson trying to reverse his field, and he goes down. The pitch to Nate Sampson as Whitehurst ran the option. Simpson it is, in for only the second play of the ball game, and that didn't work at all. Monty Johnson was there.
Well, at least that time on the option, he had one of his players back there. The first time he ran it, the backs went the other way.
Which is the best thing you can say about that play. And so Chester Marcol on for his first field goal attempt of the day. David Beverly will hold at the 24-yard line. It'll be a kick of 34 yards for Markle. Placement, the kick is up, and the Packers are on the board. Chester Markle has kicked a 34-yard field goal with 7 seconds left in the half, and the Packers have salvaged something out of the
That helps. Believe me, that helps. At least going into the locker room that you can say to that young football team, I'm talking about their head coach, Bart Starr, we made some mistakes out there. We gave Oakland too many opportunities, but we know now that at least we can move that football on that Oakland Raider football team.
All of that on NBC. Kick by Markle is short. Arthur Whittington to the 25, still on his feet. 35 and run out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. Arthur Whittington, number 22, and number 27, Randy Rich, who was just put on the roster today. A second-year man out of New Mexico at 5'10", 180 pounds, are in the deep receiving spots for the Raiders.
Early in the second half, for the Green Bay Packers, it's important. They've got to establish something. First of all, they've got to be able to stop the Oakland Raiders.
And the lights have been turned on here at Lambeau as we enter second half play. Rich fumbles it in the end zone. And he downs it there. It'll be a touchback and brought out to the 20-yard line. So the Packers will have to dig in. The Raiders perhaps will go back to what they did so effectively early and late in the half, and that is run behind Shell and Upshaw.
He was rather nonchalant about that kick. It looked like maybe he was thinking about coming out, but he made the right decision in going down to one knee. I'm talking about 27, Rich.
Well, he gets a comforting pat on the rear as he goes to the Oakland bench, and here they come with Bradshaw splitting wide to the right and Cliff Branch to the left. Van Egan and Robisky are the setbacks. Look at that hole from Mark Van Egan. First down to the 33. In the grasp of number 52, Gary Weaver. Johnny Gray was also there. But a first down, and Van Egan is nearing that 100-yard mark. We'll keep an eye on it for you.
Well, you're taking a look right now. Number 65 is Mickey Marvin, the new man in that offensive line, getting an outstanding block. On number 55, Mike Hunt, the middle linebacker. That middle linebacker's got a tough job because he has to read the center, the offensive guards, and the fullback, and he's got to do it in a split second.
First down at the Oakland 32. This is Robisky trying to get outside, and just by the shoe, he's upended by Michael Hunt, the middle linebacker. You know, Van Egan, as I mentioned earlier, rushed for 1,273 yards last year. He led the AFC in rushing, and if Franco Harris is the premier running back in the AFC, Mark Van Egan cannot be far behind, Len.
Well, that's for sure. Number 55, Michael Hunt. Last time was wiped out. This time, as I said, he's got to read and he's got to react in a hurry. Upshaw's all over him. He's going to make what you call the shoestring tackle right there. Good play by Michael Hunt.
We're back live. Second down, 7. Van Egan. Flag is down as he bucks over the 40 to about the 42-yard line. And fairly close to the first down. He may be about a yard shy. Gene Upshaw, 63, leading the way. Let's listen. Holding. We don't have to listen. The indication was obvious.
Well, I'll tell you, that official's got a good arm because that flag came flying for about 10 yards away. Had a lot of authority on it, too.
Well, he's an ex-college quarterback, probably. That hurts. Back to the 25-yard line.
Holding, number 50, offense.
That's the center, Dave Dolby, who's the victim there, or the culprit, I should say. 7-year veteran out of UCLA and a member of the Pro Bowl team last year. 7 of these Oakland starters played on the Pro Bowl club of 1977. They've got pretty fair talent, I'd say. Robisky in motion. Van Egan, 30, 32-yard line. Stopped by Michael Hunt again, the rookie from Minnesota. Hunt's got the same kind of size that his predecessor, Jim Carter, has. Hunt's about 6'2 and a half, 240. Hunt's 6'3", 245.
They tried to spread out that defensive unit. They had Robisky go in motion, hoping to get the linebackers moving and maybe get Van Egan through the gap right away. But here it is. You know, it doesn't look like much with Van Egan because he's plugging away. Now you look at his stats, 100 yards on the afternoon, and we got a long way to go in the second half.
How about that, huh? 14 carries. That was never great in math in school, but that's got to be in the neighborhood of 7 yards a carry. Stabler throws it out here to go. All alone. to the 48-yard line of Green Bay and wrestled out of bounds. And wrestled rather hard by Steve Luke, number 46, the strong safety. The second reception by Casper of the Red Sox, still leading the Yankees 2-0 in the sixth. Almost a do-or-die game for Boston. Robisky coming this way. He's got Upshaw in front of him. Good block. Robisky broke a tackle, but a flag is down. And it's in the offensive backfield of the Oakland Raiders and could be another holding call.
We got that all the way, Len.
Once again, the Oakland Raiders, they're defeating themselves, or they're making mistakes that are costing them yardage, and at this stage, costing them points. Number 35, Robuste, and you can see him following his blockers, getting around the corner. Looked like 87, Casper. Maybe if Casper's mad. Casper's mad after somebody tried to twist his head off.
Here's our first final of the day. The Chicago Bears have defeated the Detroit Lions 19-0. 12:01 to go here in Green Bay, third quarter. And the Raiders lead it 14-3. It'll now be second down and 15 after the holding call against Dave Casper. Stabler, look at that hole for Robisky. Inside the 45 to about the 43-yard line. He got all 10 back, and they're really taking advantage of that rookie middle linebacker.
Number 70, Henry Lawrence, put a shot on a linebacker. He ran right over him like a big bull and knocked him completely backwards, enabling the back to have a nice big hole to pick up that 10 yards.
So they're back to third down at about 5. Boy, Stabler can exploit some young people, can't he?
Well, he has the tools to do it. He's got great receivers. He's got a great offensive line and outstanding running backs.
On third down. Good protection over the middle. Great catch by Branch, I believe, at about the 34-yard line. It is indeed Cliff Branch. Mike McCoy had excellent coverage on him, but Branch just... well, it must have been Stabler who put it right in there.
It was a perfect pass, and it was a great catch because Mike McCoy had as good a coverage on number 21, Cliff Branch, as you can have on a man. He was right stride for stride with him, but the ball was thrown perfectly, and when that happens, and the man holds on, it's going to be a first down just like it was.
Well, Madden is now shuffling his backs. He's got Whittington 22 and Banaszak 40 paired together. Then Robisky and Van Eegen take a break. Banaszak, look at that great veteran. Inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. 13th year out of Miami of Florida is Pete Banaszak, and Madden is not happy about something.
Well, he likes to express his opinion, but, you know, on that last play, that little running back, Arthur Whittington, number 22, jumped right in the face of a linebacker and made a good block, enabling Banaszak to get a few yards.
I think when they invented the word vociferous, they were thinking of John Madden. He is something, isn't he?
Moment 28.
Raymond Chester's in the ball game.
Second down 4. Their receivers are slotted right, but they run it straight ahead. Van Eegen, probably the least amount of yardage he's had in his last 8 or 9 carries. Dave Roller, number 74, is the man who made the stop. And not only are the Raiders moving the football extremely well here in the third quarter, but they're chewing up large hunks of time. 9:45 to go, and they lead it 14-3. Casper returns. Raymond Chester goes to the bench. And you see, you saw him come into your picture momentarily. It's a third down and 2 situation. What would Stabler want to do? Put it up here, maybe?
No, he's going to go right to the left side over Big Art Shell and Casper.
He slots slots his receiver to the right. Boy, did you call that? Van Eegen in the grasp of Johnny Gray, but not before he got the first down. Mark Van Eegen over the 100-yard mark in rushing today, his first one of the year, but he certainly has emerged as one of the premier fullbacks in the National Football League.
What else can you ask from him? Now here is the left side, straight ahead blocking. Pick your hole. We're going to drive him back 2 or 3 yards. You get the yardage. You only need a couple of yards. We'll provide that for you. Number 30, Van Eegen, is doing just a little bit more on his own. That's what you call great second effort.
Well,
that's why he's a great back.
Shell and Upshaw are not overnight successes, folks. 23 years in this business. That's the combined experience of the 2 men who have cleared the way here.
Yes.
Stabler
looking for Casper.
Casper spins away from Anderson inside the 10. That should be good enough for another Oakland first down. Luke wrestled the ball free, but it won't mean a thing. Here's your second final of the day. Pittsburgh 28, Cincinnati 3, the Steelers undefeated through 3 games and a most impressive victory in Cincinnati.
They're taking control of this football game. I'm talking about the Oakland Raiders. That time they had a man in motion looking for Casper. He had single coverage back there, got the ball to him. Very close to a first down. It is a first down. Now they're in a situation to score again, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on the Green Bay Packers because now they've got to play catch up and do it in a hurry. This is what Oakland does best. They maintain control of that football.
Well, Stabler may run the offense on the field, but Madden kind of orchestrates from the sideline.
All this is determined before the game. Now, Kenny Stabler has a selection down here of maybe 4 or 5 different plays that they've gone over all week long, but he'll maybe pick one of the 4. Doesn't take much guesswork when you go to the left side.
They take all the wide receivers out, go with a 3 tight end offense. Casper, Chester, and Derek Ramsey. And they're going to just shove it down Green Bay's throat, apparently. Van Egan for a yard, maybe. It's the 7th 100-yard game of Van Egan's career. His all-time best, 143 yards last year against both the Jets and the Buffalo Bills, and there is no reason in the world why Mark Van Egan can't run for more than 143 yards today. We'll keep you posted. He went over the 100-yard mark very early in this, the 3rd quarter. 2nd down and goal to go, Oakland at the 8-yard line. And the Packers will see what they're made of at this moment. Robisky strung it out. Great play by the linebacker, Weaver, 52, and he runs him out of bounds at about the 6 or 7 or 8. Take your pick.
Good play by the defense of the Green Bay Packers, stringing it out, giving the linebacker, number 52, Weaver, an opportunity to make the tackle. Not much gain on the play, if any. And what was happening there is Oakland's trying to surprise them, trying to go wide. That isn't their fort. They're a straight-ahead type of running football team.
Gary Weaver is a former Oakland Raider, for whatever that's worth. Receivers are back in there again. 21 Branch, 81 Bradshaw. Branch is slotted at the bottom left portion of your screen. 3rd down. Yes. Stabler throws it away over Branch's head. And the Packers had excellent coverage, and finally Barzalowskis broke through and got the Stabler's feet, and it'll be 4th down, and Errol Mann comes on with the kicking team of Oakland.
Kenny Stabler, number 12, no one open, or he didn't think that they were open, didn't want to take a loss, so he just threw it out of the park so no one could catch the football, giving them an opportunity now for Errol Mann to come in here and get 3 points on the board.
Boy, they chewed up a lot of clock time, didn't they, Len?
What you don't want to do is take away an opportunity to score points. That's the important thing, particularly when you're ahead.
David Humm will hold at the 16-yard line. It'll be a kick of 26 for Errol Mann. You can see it as good as anybody in the park. No, sir. No, sir. Errol Mann has missed a 26-yard field goal. So the Green Bay Packers, instead of being down by 14, are down by just 11 here in the 3rd quarter in Green Bay. We'll be back.
Well, he's got the game plan there of the things that they want to do in various situations. He's got a young football team, so he's got to guide them.
1st down at their 20-yard line. And the pitch is to Middleton. He had a block momentarily from Darrell Goforth, number 57, but Charles Phillips came up to shut the run off. So it's no gain, make it 2nd down, and still, well, they give him a gain of 1. 2nd down and 9 now for the Packers. They're still very much in this football game. Maybe the Raiders have beaten them up and down the field, but that's kind of how Bart Starr feels about it. Our hustle and our effort, our ability to fight back, and they need every bit of it now.
That was evident on that last drive when Oakland did not get any points in that last drive when they held the football so long. They're not giving up.
It's only a 14-3 game and plenty of time left. Middleton in motion. 2nd down for Whitehurst. Intended for Barney Smith, and it was way overthrown. Rod Martin, the 2nd-year man from USC, had coverage on him. But it was badly thrown by David Whitehurst, who was having all sorts of problems today throwing the football. 3rd down and 9, 5 backs in for the Oakland Raiders in the prevent defense. Undra Thompson wide to the left, and Lofton, who's caught only 1 pass today, to the right. That was tipped. Well, that's the problem more than anything else that Whitehurst has been having. They've got that huge front line. They've got people like Vanazak at 6'7", McCoy is 6'5½". Philyaw, when he's in there, is 6'9". It's tough to get the ball over him.
And what Oakland has been doing has been they've been blitzing the Stork, Ted Hendricks, who's about 6'7", and he is an excellent blitzer. He put pressure on the quarterback that time.
Neil Colsey set to receive his punt from David Beverly. Colsey at about his own 35-yard line. Beverly has punted very well today at the 42. Colsey. And great special teams coverage by the Packers. There were 7 of them down there. Wagner, number 21, along with number 66, Paul Rudzinski, making the stop. And so when we come back, Oakland will put it in play at their own 44-yard line. They lead it 14-3 here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Seattle has won its first of the year, 24-17 over the New York Jets. That is final. So from the 45-yard line of Oakland, Stabler puts it in play again. Van Egan for 5 in a hurry. He's up near 120 now. We've got Van Egan unofficially at about 117 yards on the day. And the clock continues to move with 5:50 to go, third quarter. Oakland, although dominating quite a bit here in the second and third quarter, only leads by 11. And that's exactly what they were picked to win the game by, and the Packers are anything but out of it. Robisky and Van Egan are the backs. That's Van Egan into a brick wall, spun off it, and great pursuit by the Packers, who came to fill the hole. 55, Mike Hunt, the middle linebacker. Not a bad effort by Van Egan either.
No, that was a great effort by both sides. The defense came up and they stopped the play that's been working all afternoon for the Oakland Raiders, and Van Egan showed tremendous balance by turning and twisting away from the blocks and getting back and picking up a yard or two. That play should have been, with any ordinary back, would have been stopped for a yard loss.
3rd down and 2. Packers digging in, trying to get the football back away from Stabler. They send Robisky in motion. Van Egan? No, sir. Oh, they put him right on his backside. Number 52, Gary Weaver, put Van Egan right on his back and held him at least a yard and a half shy of the first down.
All right, number 52 is Gary Weaver. Now, he made this play. This was a great play. They had the man in motion trying to get him to loosen up. He's reading it right there. Now he sees the handoff, and he's coming in and making a classic tackle, grabbing the man right around the midsection, locking his arms, and driving him to the turf. You don't see Van Egan go down that way too often.
Ray Guy, 2 punts today, a wee bit below his average, but he put one of them out at the 1-yard line. Steve Odom in single safety for the Packers. Guy put that one out of bounds, and let's see where they mark it. They're coming back up to about the 16-yard line and spot it there. So Guy got it inside the 20, not quite as well as he would like to have done.
Anytime you get it inside the 20, it's a good kick.
.36 yards, obviously no return.
Packers need something now. They need something particularly on first down to get things moving, get their enthusiasm back up.
Well, we'll give them time to think about it and give you time to think about it as you look at Bart Starr on the sidelines in a 14-3 Oakland lead. Whitehurst has it first down and 10. Lenny at his own 16. What can we look for in this series?
Well, they've got to start opening up on first down a little bit more. Get some breathing room on second down.
Well, they're right back to where, yes, I sure do see what you mean. For a loss of 1, Turdell Middleton could not get outside. Dave Browning, the rookie out of Washington, shut that one down in a hurry. So it's second down 11. And Whitehurst, who has, to my memory, not put it up on first down all day, did not elect to do it there. And so the Packers find themselves with a passing situation on 2nd and 11. You like to do it when they don't expect it.
Well, what you're doing is you're letting that defense dictate to your offense. You want to dictate offensively to the defense.
Thompson is wide left at the top of your picture, has not caught a pass today. They got him inside the 10-yard line. Whitehurst had all day, but excellent coverage by the Oakland secondary, and Browning finally got to him, and that is the first sack of the afternoon for the Oakland Raiders.
That was a good move by Whitehurst, the quarterback, because this is why you don't want to get in a second and long situation, because here come the defense. They know that you're going to pass, they're going to fight. Good protection by Green Bay, but downfield, no one was open. So it was a good move on Whitehurst's part to take the loss instead of giving up the football on an interception.
If the Pittsburgh Pirates can beat Montreal today, they'll be just 2 games back of the Phillies, who have been beaten by the Mets 2-0. Red Sox lead the Yankees 3-1. That game's now in the bottom of the 7th. Here's a big third down play for Whitehurst. Throws the home run ball. He's got Lofton, but he overthrew him at midfield. And James Lofton had everybody beaten by 3 to 5 yards, but Whitehurst overthrew him.
Well, that's a situation you get into when you're backed up in your end zone and long yardage. You don't want to take a chance of getting tackled back there. He threw the ball. Lofton made a great move, but for Whitehurst, as a quarterback, if you're going to miss somebody, you miss them long. Don't miss them short, because if you miss them long, you just bring the punter in. If you miss them short...
The veteran Bobby Douglas giving Whitehurst a little pat on the back there, some words of encouragement, I'm sure. Beverly from his end zone punting to Neil Colsey at midfield. Look at that coverage by the Packers. Walter Tullis, first-year man out of Delaware State, who they tell us has the most legitimate 4.3 speed of anybody in pro football, was there and dropped him on the 50-yard line. So from the 50-yard line, Kenny Stabler will put it in play. His Raiders lead at 14-3, 2:41 to go third quarter. The Packers have not given up, you can rest assured. Play action. Throws it out here, intended for intercepted by John Anderson. Branch drags him down from behind, but what a fabulous rookie season Anderson has had in just 3 games. That's his 4th interception. The Packers have had 5 all year. Anderson's got 4 of them.
Great drop by number 60, Anderson. He got back. He read play pass all the way. The linemen are backing up, and that's who he's looking at. Stabler's trying to get over his head, but the ball is underthrown. 60 is there. Anderson is there, trying to go to number 21, Branch. Branch turns into a defensive man to make the tackle, but a great play by number 60, Anderson.
That's 6 interceptions by the Packers. Anderson with 4 of them. And, of course, Stabler's been intercepted 4 times today. Play action from Whitehurst. The rush is on. Down he goes at the 40. Great play there by Rod Martin, 53, and Dave Browning, 73. And the youth of the Raiders very much in evidence at this moment.
That time he went to a play-action pass. He was trying to go to his back, Middleton, in the flat, but he had a guy by the name of 83, Ted Hendricks, going out there, and it's pretty tough to throw over.
Lenny, sometimes they don't mean a thing. What do these statistics mean? Are they fairly indicative of the game?
Well, that's right, because when you can rush for that much yardage, that means you're maintaining control of the football, and you have the ball most of the time.
Clock continues to move. 2:05 to go third quarter. Now Andra Thompson in motion. And Monty Jackson's got coverage on him all over the field. Turn down Middleton at the midfield stripe. 45, first down at the Oakland 43, and that ball was even tipped.
That's right, it was tipped. Fortunately, it was tipped on up the field so that he was able to come up with a reception. Here, once again, pressure is being put on Whitehurst, the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, and he's falling back throwing the ball, which you shouldn't do, but it's tipped by Monty Jackson, and good concentration by 34 Middleton, who follows the ball all the way. Comes up with a big play, and that is what the Packers need right now. They need a couple of big plays.
Well, they got one there. The New York Giants have beaten Kansas City 26-10. There's another final. But we got a great one here. Barty Smith to the 40-yard line. If the Packers can get 6 on the board in this drive, you can rest assured that people of youth and exuberance, they will be Tigers in the fourth quarter, Len.
Well, that's right. They need something to stimulate them, to motivate them right now, to give them a purpose, and because they're a young football team and they haven't been in a situation like this. If they could come up with a big play, a touchdown, it'd really give them that added confidence that they need. 2nd down, 7 at the Oakland 40. Barty Smith trying to get outside. First down there. Carries Rod Martin down to about the 33-yard line. And I'm wondering if anything's wrong with Willie Hall, and he hasn't played in the last 2 series. Rod Martin is in there, number 53. That last play for the Green Bay Packers, you could see with the determination, and it was a different attitude in running that football by the offensive line and also by the back. He took it in there. When he made the cut, he was going all out. He was going to get that first down, and he did. It's an attitude out there. You've got to have it. You've got to have a very positive attitude and an aggressive attitude. Barty Smith's stats on the day:
Not a bigger carry than the one he just made for the first down at the Oakland 33-yard line. So the Packers have, hate to use the word, but it so aptly describes what's happening, momentum. They are moving the football, taking back some of the control of the game. Over the middle, he's got Lofton. Oh, and he dropped it at the 15-yard line. James Lofton was all alone at the 15, went high in the air, got both hands on it, couldn't hold it.
Oh, that's the second big play that he's dropped today. Play action pass. This was a good call. This was a good throw. And this is the type of pass that you must come up with. Slipped through the fingers.
Oh, he had it right in the seam of the zone. The clock has run down. We are out of time in the third quarter. The Packers on the move. When we come back, we'll have a second down and 10 at the Oakland 33-yard line. The Raiders lead by 11. I'll give you that address again, so get a pencil and paper, and you can write it down in just a moment. We'll give it to you after this play. There you see it. We'll give it to you once again after the Packers run this second down play. At the Oakland 33-yard line with Len Dawson, Sam Nover, we've entered the fourth quarter. The Packers trail 14-3. He's got him. Oh, intercepted and dropped by Tatum. He had Lofton. He threw it behind him. Tatum coming up from the safety position, had the ball in his hands and dropped it. Here's that address again. So send your tax-deductible contribution to help our American Olympic athletes, please, and send it to U.S. Olympics. Post Office, Box 1980N, like in Nellie. Cathedral Station, Boston, Massachusetts, 02118. You're looking at it now.
Like in Nellie.
And I didn't want to be egotistical and say, and like in Nover. Maybe the biggest play of the game. Third down for Whitehurst. Marty Smith, tackled by Monty Johnson, very close to a Green Bay first down. At precisely the 23.5-yard line.
Good play. The offensive line now, they must protect their quarterback. They must give him time to pass. And this is a long pass because the back is letting the wide receivers clear out an area and they come underneath. This is it's short, looks like, by about a foot or so. They got to go for it.
NBC will have that great baseball coverage continuing for you again next Saturday. The Yankees at Cleveland, Pittsburgh at Montreal, both at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, right here on NBC. You saw the chains, and it tells a multitude of stories, doesn't it?
That's right. They got two tight ends in the ball game. This is it. It's not the end of the ball game, but this is a very big play right now.
Fourth down, less than a yard. Setbacks are Middleton and Barty Smith. Middleton spins for the first down. Oakland thinks they stopped him. I think Middleton spun for the first down, Lenny.
Look at it again, Len.
Well, the defensive.
Monty Johnson doesn't look happy with the placement of the football. Here it is again.
Well, you can see here he comes. Middleton coming in, and number 42, Monty Jackson coming in, makes an outstanding tackle. But a good move right there by Middleton, spinning to the inside and twisting. If he has any chance of making a first down, that was the only way he could make it.
This crowd will tell you, too. You won't need us. Alive and still kicking. The Green Bay Packers have it first down at the Oakland 23-yard line. 14:15 to play in the ball game.
On the sideline, Zeke Bretkowski is over there giving right there in the jacket, yellow jacket, giving signals to the quarterback, telling him what play to call.
Both receivers, Lofton and Thompson, split wide to the left. They send Thompson back in motion. And Lester Hayes follows him all across the field. Wide receiver screen to Lofton, 15-yard line and out of bounds. They set that up very neatly, Lenny.
Yes, sir. Offensive lineman got out in front of the ball carrier very, very well. That's a big play. I was talking about the first down situations for the Green Bay Packers that need to come up with a situation where now they're in a run-pass situation. This is a quarterback's dream. 2nd and 2.
Pittsburgh Pirates have beaten Montreal 5-3. They have climbed back to within 2 games of first place in the National League East. The Phillies lost to the Mets. The Red Sox lead the Yankees. Smith avoided a tackle, fumbled the ball, and the Raiders have recovered. Marty Smith coughs it up at the 15-yard line.
The one thing, the absolute one thing that you can't afford to do down here is give up the football. Villapiano came flying in there, almost made the tackle, but the ball is there. You got to get both hands on the football. You can see the pop there. Generally, it's a headgear that pops the football out of the arms of the ball carrier.
And that headgear was on the head of a rookie, Dave Browning, who stuck it right into the football, Len, and he forced it right out of Barty Smith's hands. So the Raiders come up with a very, very big turnover of their own. Of course, Green Bay has intercepted Stabler 4 times today. That's the 3rd turnover for the Green Bay Packers. What does a young club feel? It's like letting the air out of the balloon at this point.
Yeah, it is. That's where a veteran ball club can overcome some adversity like that. But also from a teaching point of view, from Bart Starr's point of view, he can go into the meetings next week and say, it's very simple, this game. It isn't that difficult. Here's what we did. We gave up the football here. We gave up the football here. We gave the football here. You can't do that and expect to win consistently.
And if you think Starr has given up on this one, you're badly mistaken. 14-3 Oakland. Stabler gets it back. Here's Van Egan. Nothing doing as he tried to roll out to his left. Seems to me, Len, that when Shell and Upshaw have to do some pulling, the Raiders are not nearly as effective as a straight-ahead blocking.
They're a straight-ahead football team, but what is happening, Ezra Johnson, 78, and also John Anderson, number 60, on that side, they're playing better. They're playing more aggressively, and they're playing that run on first down.
Well, that's a big meeting going on. This is obviously a crucial series for the Packer defense, Len. The youth of this ball club has got to start molding together right now. 2nd down, 9. Van Egan, first down to the 27-yard line, and he stumbled for 5 or 6 of those yards. He was finally put down by Johnny Gray, but Van Egan did it on his own. What a fabulous game he's having.
Made an excellent cutback on that play, enabling him to pick up the hole and pick up the first down.
I don't think the football world is ready for this one. Late in the 3rd quarter, Tampa Bay 16, Minnesota 7. The game being played in Minnesota. Doug Williams has just hit Morris Owens with a 5-yard pass. Tampa Bay leading Minnesota by 9.
Minnesota's having problems with their offense this year.
Robisky breaks a tackle to the 40-yard line and out of bounds. Johnny Gray threw him out, and not so nicely on the far side of the field.
The official taking a rap on that one. You think it's an easy job out on the field. It's not an easy job. He really took a shot there. Number 35, Robisky, and Van Egan, he runs with the football, but he also, when he isn't, has to throw blocks, and he does that very well. And you can see right here, Robisky's going out, and the officials, nowhere to go for him.
Well, it's called gutting it up. The Packers have to do it now or never. 12.5 minutes to play in regulation time. At the Oakland 38, Stabler has taken them out of trouble at their own 15 and moved it up now across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Van Egan, the ball carrier. Mike Butler, who has not been a factor in this game at all, Lenny. In fact, that's the first time I remember having said his name since the opening introductions.
They really haven't been going to Mike's side very often. Generally, when they go to his side, they're checking off, and most of the time they've been going inside of Mike Butler, number 77.
2nd down and 6. Van Egan takes a rest. Banaszak in for him, number 40. Banaszak lined up directly behind Stabler. He gets the ball to the 45 and across the 45 to maybe the 46. Mike Hunt, the rookie out of Minnesota, man who made the stop. And the clock continues to run, and Oakland's a master at running the clock off. The Packers have to get the football back for Whitehurst in the offense and do it very quickly.
They must do it on first down. They must put Kenny Stabler in a position where he has to throw the football. They're picking up 4 and 5 and 6 yards on first down.
Derek Ramsey, 84. Raymond Chester, 88. Joined Casper in a 3 tight end offense. 3rd down and 2. Banaszak, first down, into Green Bay territory at the 46-yard line. What a money player he is. Johnny Gray made the stop, and Banaszak's been doing things like that, Lenny, since the days when you were great.
He did it last week, if you remember. He was involved in that play that got them into the end zone when Casper recovered. He was the middleman on that. There he is, 4 yards, 21 carries. He gets the tough yards. That's the thing about Pete Banaszak. When the things get tough, they put him in there.
We're delighted to have you with us here in Green Bay with Lenny Dawson. This is Sam Nover. It's fourth quarter action. They had him momentarily, Robisky, a big hit there by the man who makes a lot of big hits, Johnny Gray out of Cal State Fullerton. Came up from his free safety to make the tackle secure, but Robisky did a neat bit of running to prevent himself from being caught behind the line.
He did a move right then like Middleton did just a short while ago to pick up the first down by twisting and turning on a reverse pivot inside.
Second down, 9. Robisky and Van Egan are out. Arthur Whittington and Raymond Chester are in. The pitch to Whittington. Gets a block. Look at this. Out of bounds at the 20-yard line, but that time Shell and Upshaw pulled and did their job.
Well, I will tell you, number 46, Steve Luke, must have wondered what was going on out there. But here we got 78 is Art Shell coming around pulling, and he doesn't pull too often. And Ezra Johnson, number 78, was not able to get out there in time to stop it. So consequently, Whittington coming down for a very big gain, the Oakland Raiders.
They say he stepped out of the 23, whatever. It's a big first down for Oakland, a great possession call by Stabler. 9:51 to go in the third quarter. Van Egan back in there, gets the football inside the 20 to about the 17. Van Egan over the 135-yard mark in 24 carries. And he is at this juncture about 8 or 9 yards away from his greatest day ever carrying the football. Mark Van Egan in his 5th year out of Colgate, 6'2", 225. San Francisco getting back in the Houston game. The Oilers lead at 17-12 after Steve DeBerg hit Freddie Solomon with a 58-yard touchdown pass. That's third quarter. Second down and 5 for Stabler. Robisky cuts it back to about the 13, stopped by Johnny Gray again, but they're wiping out the front four, Lenny. What's happening there?
They are defensive front four for the Green Bay Packers. They are not getting any penetration into the backfield. If they get some penetration into the backfield, that would disrupt things and give the linebackers an opportunity to make the tackles.
Brian Sipe has just recovered his own fumble and run 3 yards for a touchdown in the fourth quarter. Cleveland 24, the Atlanta Falcons 16. That's 4 weeks worth of points Atlanta's given up today, 24. They don't do that very often. 3 tight ends again for Oakland, third down and 1. Van Egan, who else? Look at that. Inside the 10 to the 8-yard line. Steve Luke had to make the stop, the strong safety. And it's first down and goal Raiders, and they're trying to put the nails in the Green Bay coffin.
I know we said it time after time after time about the left side of that offensive line, but you see no penetration there by the Green Bay Packers, so he can pick his hole. He can make his own selection where to go because he's got the first down, and then he can slide one way or another.
Cleveland is final, Lenny, 24-16 over Atlanta. It's all over. First down and goal at the 7. Whittington is in there, and he takes the pitch. At the 5, touchdown Oakland. Well, Stabler took it from his 15-yard line and absolutely shoved it down the throats of a tired Green Bay Packer defense, but a game defense nonetheless.
Whittington, 22, has got great speed. He has the ability to go outside, but you don't go anywhere unless there are some people up front doing the job. Number 70 is Henry Lawrence, a big locomotive coming out here on a little defensive back, and believe me, they don't like to see him, and he just cleared the way for Whittington.
Errol Mann will try to make it 21-3 Oakland out of a David Humm hold. 7:55 to go in regulation time. And the kick is up, and it's a chip shot for Mr. Mann. And so the Raiders now have put the Packers behind the proverbial 8 ball. It's 21-3. The clock is a factor late in the fourth quarter. Looking at it just like Steve Odom is looking at it. He's in the deep receiving spot for the Packers, number 84. He's got it. 25 to about the 27-yard line. Upended by Randy Rich, number 27, the special teams player that the Raiders just signed today. Len, what, as a quarterback, would David Whitehurst want to do now? You ought to be able to get in his mind.
Well, he's paying his dues right now in the National Football League. Every quarterback has been through this situation where it's the fourth quarter, you're down and things haven't been going well for you. You've got to go back and throw. You know the pressure is going to be on you. This is where you learn how to maintain your composure if you're going to be a great quarterback.
Walter Landers, 42, joins Turdell Middleton in the backfield. Barty Smith is out, obviously. They're going to put the ball up. He lofts this one, and it's almost intercepted by Tatum. He tried to get it to Landers, and Tatum, for the second time today, had a ball right in his mitts and couldn't hang on.
It's exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Whitehurst. You don't get excited in a situation like this. You have to maintain your composure. Every quarterback, Sam, believe me, has gone through what he's going through right now. It's not very pleasant, but you look at Stabler, first half, he's throwing the ball up for grabs, and Green Bay's coming up with it, but he never lost his composure or his confidence.
There's his stats on the day, nothing to be particularly proud of, but David Whitehurst will be heard from again, perhaps as soon as next week. Second down. Throws it out here, intended for Middleton, made a great effort. Was tackled in midair by Monty Johnson, and the fans don't like it one iota.
Step back, see what he's going to do. Here it is.
You got to love Turdell Middleton. This kid goes all out, Lenny.
Coming back in the pocket. Now, you have to have confidence back there to know that if you can, it's a good throw right there, because if he didn't catch it, it was out of bounds, and no one's going to catch it, because he was really well covered by Monty Johnson.
I'll tell you one thing I like about Middleton. He doesn't hear footsteps, does he? He has great concentration on the ball. And there's a look at Big Monty. Toomey in there, number 67, along with Charles Filyaw, 77. They're going to try to pressure Whitehurst, obviously, on third down and 10 at the Green Bay 27. David back to pass. Threw it in behind Middleton. He almost made a miraculous catch, particularly with Monty Jackson sticking in from behind, but it was not to be. And the Packers will have to kick it away.
See, there's a situation where he hurried his throw. The ideal thing for a quarterback, you hurry everything but your throw. Get back in that pocket as quickly as possible and read the defense. Well, here it is, first downs, Raiders 21, Packers 10, which means Oakland has had the football most of the afternoon.
David Beverly, standing back at his own 14-yard line, will be kicking to Neil Colsey. 7.5 minutes to go in the game on a moving clock, and the Raiders in command at 21-3. At the 35, Colsey is down at the 40. Number 21, Steve Wagner, a great special teams player for the Packers, was there to put him away. So with 7:20 to go, and Beverly walking off the field wondering whether he'll ever have to kick again today. 21-3 Oakland. Well, if you're a Green Bay Packer fan, you're hoping that Oakland finds a way to cough it up here. If you're an Oakland Raider fan, you are wondering about Mark Van Egan, who is about to have his greatest day ever as a professional. He is 1 yard shy of that. And there it is. Van Egan has gone over 143 yards at 150. Mark Van Egan has just eclipsed his previous high of 143 yards. He's done it today in, 25 carries, I think, Len, and now they're taking him out of the ball game. There is a fantastic performance from an outstanding running back.
They knew exactly what he needed because they let him get that yardage, and then they put Banaszak right back in the ball game. But the way he ran on that play looked like he was just starting out the game. He looked very fresh.
Give him a gain of 9. It's second down and 1. Robisky for the first down and brought down at the 49-yard line. Here's the official stat. Van Egan, 26 carries, 151 yards, and he has had himself some kind of day. I believe that's the best effort of the season in the National Football League.
It's amazing because the way he gets hit, and when he isn't carrying the football, he's blocking. So he is taking a lot of punishment every game he plays in.
Whittington 22, Banaszak 40 are the setbacks. Whittington trying to get outside, breaks a tackle, 45-40. Great quickness by Arthur Whittington. Run out of bounds on the far side by Johnny Gray, and a great block by Banaszak.
There's something about that.
I'll tell you, Ezra Johnson, 78, he had to have 22. Whittington had to have that type of speed. He got Upshaw out in front, Banaszak 2. 78's got 4.5 speed, and 22 Whittington got by him. So without that speed, he wouldn't have turned the corner because Johnson would have had him.
They're in the 9th now at Yankee Stadium. The Red Sox lead the Yankees 6-3. Should Boston hold the lead, they'll be back to 2.5 games in the American League East.
It's a must-win for the Boston Red Sox.
Who do you like, Leonard?
Well, I like the way the Yankees have been coming on here in the last month.
First down, Stabler and company at the 39. Whittington, 35, inside the 35 to about the 33. And while we have a moment, an outstanding job of spotting for us here in Green Bay today by John Campbell and Bob Schultz. Bob Hoole on the statistics, keeping us abreast carry by carry of Mr. Van Eegen. We appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you. 5:40 to go in the game, and the Raiders lead it 21-3.
Second and 6.
Don't forget, next week NBC has some great games for you, primarily, and if you get it in your area, that Pittsburgh-Cleveland game at Three River Stadium will be a dandy. They are both 3-0 on the year. How's that for an average, Len? 10 yards a carry.
Beautiful. They can't decide what's going to happen in the backfield. Give it to Whittington. Let him run.
Dragged down at about the 25-yard line. Here's a young man who's carried the ball 6 times today, averaging almost 10 yards a carry.
He gets out of the blocks. You can tell that, boys, he got speed. Those big linemen for the Oakland Raiders know that if they're going to run a sweep, they better get moving because he's going to be right up their backs.
Well, the Raiders needed this one, Len. I think you'll agree. They meet a great foe next week in the New England Patriots. I mean, they got to be playing some good football when they play New England.
Well, from their point, from Oakland's point of view, this is a must game here because they couldn't afford to go in with a 1-2 record against New England. They consider New England as strong as anybody in the National Football League.
Here's a new back, Booker Russell. Boy, the Raiders got a stable, don't they? Look at that, to the 10-yard line. The rookie out of Southwest Texas, 6'2", 230 pounds. I've heard of East Texas State, North Texas State, West Texas State. I've never heard of Southwest Texas.
Boy, I'll tell you, some of the players, they never get in the ball game, and when they do, guys like 34 Booker Russell, he's fresh, and he can run, and he's strong. Look at that. He doesn't want to come down. He said, Van Eegen got 150. Let me get my share.
That's a tired crew of Green Bay Packers on the other side of the line of scrimmage, I'll tell you that. But Starr has got a lot to be proud of. This club has showed a lot of heart today. Whittington, touchdown Oakland. Arthur Whittington, his second of the day. Second of the quarter. They've broken it wide open at 27-3. And Stabler, I assume, will be done for the afternoon, Len.
Well, you talk about explosiveness. He has it, and Joe Stewart, number 80, came up with a very good block on the play. On the defensive back right there, just went by you, enable him to just glide into the end zone. That type of speed, you notice that all the plays that he runs is wide, and he has, and Green Bay knows that, but he's got such tremendous speed, and he gets such great blocking, there's not much Green Bay can do about it.
319 yards on the ground for the Oakland Raiders today. They have really stuck it to the Packers. And I would think that probably the only thing that kept Green Bay in the early going were the turnovers by Oakland, Len, as you indicated, and a lot of heart.
Well, that's right. They're a scrapping, fighting young football team. They're going to take their lumps now, but they're going to be there in a few years.
Mann's conversion attempt is up, and it is good. And so the Oakland Raiders have put the nails in the coffin. 3 minutes, 48 seconds to go in this football game. The Oakland Raiders will now win their second of the year. They lead Green Bay 28-3. You're looking at Dennis Sproul, the 8th-round draft choice of the Green Bay Packers out of Arizona State, preparing to come in and play off the final 3:48 of this game. Ray Guy kicking again to Steve Odom, 84. Deep in the end zone. Odom has it, and it's a touchback. The ball will come back to the 20-yard line, and Sproul will get some game action, Len.
Well, that's right. I went through this my first 5 years in professional football when the game was all over. But look at the statistics in the ball game. That tells the story. 391 yards to 165 yards. Van Eegen plugging away, 151 yards rushing. When you maintain control of that football offensively, even though the Raiders made a lot of mistakes, you're controlling the football. When you have it, the other team can't possibly score.
And those last 2 scoring drives, Lenny, by the Raiders were all running plays. They didn't put the ball up once. Both drives culminated by Arthur Whittington's 7-yard run, then his 10-yard run to salt it away at 28-3. Now Sproul goes back. Got a man over the middle. Lofton juggles it and holds on. Brought down at the Green Bay 45-yard line. Just the second catch of the day for the #1 draft choice in Stanford, James Lofton. Rod Martin put him down at the 45.
Well, Dennis Sproul, number 16, went right in the middle where there's a lot of traffic in there, and he had to pinpoint this pass, which he does right now. Wobbles a little bit, comes up with a catch. That's a big play for Dennis Sproul, because that's, you know he's got butterflies in his stomach. He's coming in with the score the way it is, coming up with his first pass at completion. It's going to help.
From their 45, Dennis Sproul on 1st down and 10. And the clock moving at 2:55 to go in the game.
Oh!
Catch by Lofton. He caught it one-handed, would you believe? Charles Phillips doesn't believe it. A flag is down, but that won't make that catch any less magnificent.
Oh, it's amazing. Now, you talk about concentration. He dropped a couple earlier in the ball game, and when a man is capable of coming up with this type of catch, you know that his career in the National Football League is going to be a brilliant one. Look at this catch, one-handed, with a defensive man all over him.
I called that defensive man Charles Phillips 47. It was Lester Hayes 37. It wouldn't make any difference. That was fabulous coverage nonetheless, and Lofton did it all on his own. Now let's see what the penalty's all about. It's a personal foul against the Oakland Raiders. They'll tack on 15 more, Lenny. That makes the play a heck of a completion, doesn't it?
Makes it. I'll tell you, for Dennis Sproul, that's, you know, you go into a ball game and the game is out of reach for the Green Bay Packers. You complete your first one, then come up with another.
Foul, number 37, defense. 1st down.
Well, that's a man who made the tackle, Lester Hayes. Denver's gone in front of San Diego 7-0. A 2-yard pass from Norris Weiss to Ron Eklof. 7-0 Denver, early moments, first quarter. Sproul again. Oh, look at Landers get bopped, but good. Jeff Barnes, number 56, a second-year man out of California. Of course, he had him stretched and high in the air when he hit him.
The one thing you don't want to do to your receivers is get them up in the air when everybody's back. They had just 3 men rushing the passer that time. The ball was thrown high. The best thing to do is throw it low in a pass like that, because if your man doesn't catch it, it goes into the ground and wouldn't be completed. But if it's high, a little tip, you've got several people in that secondary that could come up with an interception. They want it at the numbers.
2nd down for Sproul. Fumbles the football, scramble at the 30-yard line, and I believe he got it back. He did indeed. Also there was Charles Filyaw, big number 77, 6'9", 275, out of Texas Southern. Lenny, do you remember your first professional appearance ever?
Oh, yes, by all means.
Vividly?
Yes, you better believe it.
What'd you do?
Huh? Well, in Cleveland, I threw an interception to the opposition. He ran in for a touchdown. Erich Barnes, and he was a teammate of mine in college. I told him I couldn't believe you'd do that to me.
Sproul having a little better success than Len Dawson did. 3 receivers in there for Dennis. Fades back, batted right in his face, and Filyaw almost had the interception. That was Pat Toomey, the 9-year veteran out of Vanderbilt, who comes in on those kinds of situations when it's 3rd and long, and he batted the ball right back in Sproul's face.
I'll show you that again.
Well, you can see Dennis is looking for help here. But he's facing a very big, very tall defensive line. The backs are dropping. He's trying to go underneath, and you can see right there that Pat Toomey came in right in his lane where he was looking. You can't see over these people. They're too big, so you have to find some lane where you can see and throw the football. And at the last moment, Toomey found that lane and decided he was going to get in the act.
4th down, 14 at the Oakland 30. Sproul needs a big play. He doesn't like what he sees. He calls a timeout. A little bit confused, perhaps, led by the Oakland defense.
That's a good play. This is 4th down. If you don't make that, then it's 1 first down by the Oakland Raiders, and it's all over, and you don't get an opportunity to score any points. If there's any decision in your mind, you better call a timeout and come back over, because there isn't a down after this.
Dawson and I talked about during NFL 78, our pregame show has not waned one iota. The Packer cheerleaders and the fans still enjoying every moment, even though their hometown club is about to lose its first of the year. 4th down, 14 for Dennis Sproul and the Packers. Great protection. He's got him all alone. And he overthrew him. Intended for number 20, Walter Tullis. And Sproul took an eternity to get the ball downfield, Lenny, because I think Tullis was open a long time before that.
That's a type of pass that you want to drill on the line because he was going down the sideline. Now here it is. If you can drill this thing, don't hang it up there too long unless you want the man to fair catch it. Well, he was in a position right there. If he on the line, he'd have an opportunity to catch it. The thing that I'm looking at these Green Bay quarterbacks, that they're hanging the ball up too high. They're having to jump too high, and two things: it can be tipped and be intercepted, and secondly, you can get some people hurt.
Well, it's understandable. They've had so many slap back in their face this afternoon. 2:13 to go in the game. There it goes. Booker Russell fumble, and the Raiders got it back. Henry Lawrence, number 70, fell on it. That defense, that very game and aggressive defense of the Packers, forced to fumble. David Humm is in at quarterback, number 11, replacing Stabler. Humm is a 4-year pro out of Nebraska. And that was rather inauspicious beginning for Mr. Humm.
2-minute warning.
Well, I can tell you this: Henry Lawrence did not want the football.
We're down to the 2-minute warning. 28-3. The Oakland Raiders. David Humm is in simply to put the frosting on the cake. Lenny Dawson and I will be back to Green Bay in just a moment. With 7 minutes and 10 seconds to play in the fourth quarter, Steve DeBerg has hit Paul Seal with an 8-yard pass. San Francisco has gone ahead of Houston 19-17. Here in Green Bay, Sam Nover and Lenny Dawson, the final 2 minutes of an Oakland victory over Green Bay. And look at Arthur Whittington. Run out of bounds in front of the Packer bench at the Oakland 48-yard line. But Mr. Whittington, who didn't come into the game until the fourth quarter, has scored twice and running like the Dickens.
He's coming up on a 100-yard afternoon for himself. He got a tremendous block by Henry Lawrence, the offensive right tackle of the Oakland Raiders. He came out, and here's Henry weighing about 1.5 tons and hitting on some little defensive back.
Here's still the shocker of the day. Tampa Bay 16, Minnesota 10. They are midway through the fourth quarter at Minnesota. David Humm on first down. Throws it out for Morris Bradshaw off his hands and out of bounds. And it's interesting, Len, we talked about Morris Bradshaw starting for Freddie Biletnikoff at the beginning of the show. We made a big deal out of it. And Bradshaw has made no contribution whatsoever today. It seems to see which of those 4 1 o'clock games you have in your area. 2 o'clock will be Denver at Kansas City. Booker Russell into Green Bay territory and dragged down. Whittington, as Len indicated, is getting very close to 100 yards. He's 87 in 8 carries. And there's your 2 o'clocker.
Whittington also, for a little man, sticks his nose right out there in blocking. That time he helped Booker to pick up some good yardage because he was the man leading the way.
Well, Whittington probably doesn't like being overlooked for that starting spot vacated by Clarence Davis. He wants to challenge Robisky. And he's made a pretty good case for himself today, hasn't he?
He's putting some points on the scoreboard. That's very, very important.
Look at this. Whittington picking a hole. And they do some shoving there. Bob Barber made the stop, number 70. He's replaced Ezra Johnson at defensive end. Barber was a starter here last year, a 3rd-year pro out of Grambling, played a little bit in the WFL, drafted originally by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 2nd round before he jumped to the other league. Green Bay Partisans starting to file out of Lambeau Field. This has been the home opener for the Packers. They did play in Milwaukee County Stadium last Sunday when they beat New Orleans, but this is the first game they've played this year in Green Bay. And the Raiders, by the way, Len, have opened 3 seasons away for other teams this year. They've been the visitors in 3 straight home openers. Booker Russell for the first down, I believe.